What's up, Rockstar?
I'm trying to be brilliant. I need to catch up with you.
I don't know. That's a big attempt.
I'm trying my best.
So where do your rock and roll roots have you planted today?
What do I have today? Studio. We're doing a lot of writing. So we are, I think the next 4 days we're doing, 14, 16-hour days.
Wow. So you still go into the studio to write music. I love that, because that, to me, that's where the original fields are. And it's not sitting at home inside a studio.
Exactly. And I think part of the process too is like you have to wear yourself down, you get tired, and you get where you're not thinking about things, and it's just everything's organic because you're not thinking, at least that's my thought, like you're not technical. It's just whatever emotion you're feeling. And right. I think as the days get long, these things come out during the day.
What's the goal on this particular mission? Because you've always had that unique sound for every project that you do.
My goal is I want to get better. I want to just keep getting better and better. Better as a writer, better as a producer. And I think with the In Theory record, we were able to make a bold statement. Like we created in a way, a new sound, and that was able to get a nice little blend of all these different styles and sounds and textures, and I think we were able to exceed a lot of expectations and create something new. And now I'm like, how do we make it better? So there's no pressure on this time, So so that's the goal on that.
Does the perfectionist get to come to the party, or does he have to stay on the outside?
Oh, he's always on the outside.
He's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, when you to try to get better and better and better. I mean, that's one of the things as a writer. It's like I would never get out of the first paragraph if I let the perfectionist take over. Yeah,
the perfectionist never gets. I think when I say better, I think it's more of the emotion. If I can capture an emotion each time, then I'm a happy camper, if it's not perfect.
Yeah. So now on this particular level of play that you're doing, and you're songwriting inside the studio, are the musicians themselves there, or are you getting down the main idea and then you'll invite the other musicians in?
Well, that's a good question. We were going to experiment and have everybody and do like an old school, like Zeppelin type of recording. And I started putting down, my goal was to get 90 ideas before going in, and then there was just some things going on and just wasn't going to happen. But so on this one, we're going to do exactly how we did the In Theory record, where I think I only have 50 ideas in my notebook, and wow. I think another, I don't know, it could be another 50 or 60 on my phone. I write very primitive. It's I'll just write at the house and not necessarily write, and I'm playing, and I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, I like this. Oh, I like this. And then right away, I just get my phone on and I put it on video. It's so primitive. And I'm like, okay. And I say that idea in that moment. And then when I go to the studio, I start putting things down and then actually hear if it translates what I'm hearing at my place.
See, I totally get that, because just the other day on iHeartRadio, I talked about that, how it doesn't all come to us at one moment. And if you're not documenting things, you'll forget things so quickly.
Yeah, sometimes, to be really honest, sometimes I forget within 5 minutes.
Yep.
So as soon as I get that idea, my iPhone is going. And it's funny, if you look at my iPhone, anything that's black in the picture, like I saved to photos and videos, that means it's one of the song ideas. And I was looking at it last night because I'm going in. Yeah, there's at least 60, 70 of those, not including my notebook. So,
oh, my God. Now, what are we seeing on your social media when you are playing the guitar? Is that the moments that you're talking about?
Which thing on my social media?
In other words, you'll say, like on Facebook, I mean, you'll go just riffing around, and it's you on that guitar and just riffing around, exactly. And you post so many of those. I mean, you know how to really do social media well.
I appreciate that. Yeah, when I'm riffing around, that's a whole other thing. And it's a little bit of a. We started briefly talking about it. I think we were going to save it for this episode. but I think I told you, first, like with the Go-Go record, it was one thing, and then it was the Interior record and stuff with the Stevie Wonder, and then stuff with Victor and stuff. And but the funny thing, even though if people were trying to play the rhythms and hear the riffs, there's always a lot of guitar riffs, and that are not necessarily easy, but the entire song, there's a lot of riffs, a lot of musicality. But anytime a solo would come up, people know, and it doesn't matter what studio I'd be. I could be in anywhere. I could be in New York, Philly, LA, Muscle Shoals, and it doesn't really matter. Or it could be even a friend, like, is that you playing? not like the whole 4 minutes I'm playing guitar. It's just every time a solo would come up. So at one point, it was just driving me a little, like, it was humorous, but it was driving me crazy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to post some stuff that, let me show you I can play a little bit as well. Not only the producer, writer guy, and, like songwriter, let me play a little, guitar. That's why I always make a little joke. Yeah, here I am riffing around. Here I am, stretching out. So I started putting out those videos, and now it's like, oh,
we expect them now. We expect them.
Right. Now it's expected. Right?
Yeah. We want to see that. And I think the reason why is because, throughout the 90s and even the hair band moments, that front man was the band to a lot of people. And we totally forgot that, that it took everybody else in the band to create that sound.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, like I said, it's just very funny that, the things that get me excited when I'm writing that are very difficult, like, musicality wise or theoretically, like, I'm like, oh my God, did you, like to myself, things that get me excited, like, oh, I'm doing this with this, and then I'm layering this, and which is, it's a whole art in itself. And that is the more challenging thing, and the playing, like the riffing stuff is actually, not that it's easier, but it's easier, But I noticed that if it's more flashier, I think as a whole, not even just playing guitar, people are attracted to that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It gets their attention.
Are there two guitar solos the same? And what I mean is that you could play it in the song right now and come back 2 hours later. Would it be the same guitar solo, or is it all based on what you feel in that moment?
No, it's always just in the moment. Yep. And pretty much, it's in the moment. And once it's down, and if I like it, that's it. I try to capture sort of like lightning in a bottle, and I just go for it. I'm not even thinking, like what key, I just go. Mm-hmm. and fingers crossed it's good. And, and if, like I said, if half of it's good, then I can just start adding to it or edit, accordingly. But I always try to get it on the first take. Yeah.
Tony and those guys have got to be the luckiest people on the planet, having a front row seat like that, to be able to sit there and watch you and experience it right there, center stage.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think, I don't know. I don't really think about that. I think they appreciate it after it's done. I think during the process, I'm not sure.
So now when you say after it's done, does that mean including the master mix and everything?
Yeah, once we get to the final mix, and then I just bring it to mastering, and they're like, oh yeah, this is cool, but I think during the process, there's a lot of tension to do it.
Yep. What do you think those engineers can hear that some of us can't when you go in there to do the masters and stuff like that? Because they've got an ear for things that just it just blows me away that they can hear things that the rest of us can't.
Yeah, well, you know what? And it all depends on which engineer.
Yeah.
Every engineer has a different strength on what they hear. And what I've learned through the years is every engineer also has their interpretation of what they hear. So it's very important to me, whoever I'm working with as the engineer, I have a dog here attacking me. Whatever, I have to have a certain chemistry that we almost hear, or like philosophically we have to be almost the same. And and I'm very lucky with our mutual friend Charles that him and I, when we get an idea, or it could be anything, or like we're on a verse or we're on a chorus, or it could be anything. We're just so determined to get it. I won't say right, but we're just so like we're both hearing something, and we will work 10 hours just to get a verse.
Yep.
And you know what? Is the funny thing is most people won't even hear the difference between the first one and the last one.
You will. You'll know it.
Right. But I will. Right. And it will drive me crazy if it's not right. And but I do still think people wouldn't. If you play the first one to the last one, they won't hear it. But when they actually hear the last one for the first time, I think they will be moved one way or the other, but they won't know exactly why.
Do you want great rock to be at the forefront like it once was with the hair bands, or do you like the idea that it has a hiding place and it allows people to go and discover it?
Ooh, discover it as far as finding a band, or discovering
Well, we don't have record stores anymore, so discovering to me, I mean, I talk with more people that get on. They don't even go to Spotify or anything like that looking for new music. What they do is they go to YouTube looking for those videos, and then they'll go out to the Spotifys and other streaming outlets.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. It's like, I think for me, it's the same thing. Where I'm not really looking, and then I'll hear a guitar player or a band on YouTube or Instagram, like, who's that?
Yeah.
What's that? and I think that's kind of cool. That's still like the little kid in me, where there's not something specifically. I'm not like, hey, I'm looking for this type of band or this type of band. It's just sometimes it's just in my feed. I'm like, what's this? And like there's this band. I forgot what the name it is, but apparently I'm on this bill to play with all these Guitar Hero guys at the end of January in Chicago. So it's a really kind of an honor to, play with these super shredder guys. And then there's this one band that was, I was like, who is this band? I'm looking at like they have millions of views and they do some really interesting interpretations of covers. And I'm like, wow, these guys are really cool. So I started following them, and since we're on the same bill, we reached out to each other. So now I became friends with them, and and then I'll get to see them when I play in Chicago.
Wow, it amazes me how the music community is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. I mean, you always hear about what happened out in California and everything, and that was a tight community there, and then all of a sudden it's like poof, everything kind of separated a little bit. But it seems like now musicians are really coming together.
Yeah, I think so, and I wonder if it's because of the economics of the industry that they're bonding together as I don't know. I think in the past where there was, at least I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking off my head here. When there's a lot of money and ego and drugs and other things involved. You get that separation, I think, and now I think everybody's in the good fight together and trying to, survive. And, it's really a struggle for an artist unless you're at the top of the food chain, and so I think maybe that's what's bonding people. There's a little bit less ego and they appreciate what the other artists are doing. And I think I do think they appreciate the good fight, that we're all in it together, so that's sort of why I think there's that kind of community.
Do you still find yourself being the student when you come up to somebody that has inspired you to play?
Oh, I'm a student every day.
Every day.
Every day. No, I love to learn, and I really do. And it's not an exaggeration. I mean, every day if I can learn something, and it could be anything, or it could be I hear a melody and I'm like, or I hear a record and I'm like, what was that on that? Or it could be, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a shredder guy, but every day I'll put on something, and I'll just leave my YouTube on and just play, and whatever. It could be learning a technique, it could be learning a production skill, it could be learning anything. Like we were talking about mastering, and I want to be just as well versed in that. So if that piques my curiosity today, I'm like, what is that? And I'll try to learn everything I can. But every day, I try to learn.
I'll shout out to Alexa and I'll say, Alexa, play me only guitar music, only guitars, and I'll sit there, and while I'm doing my everyday thing, it's the same thing that like with you, is that if you hear something that you like, all of a sudden you go, play that again, and because all of a sudden, because it'll grab your attention in a heartbeat.
Right, and then what I also do once, like I have that, then I go, why is that grabbing my attention? I'm a very analytical guy, and I have a tendency, maybe to overanalyze, and I look at things from an emotional or psychological standpoint, and I know that there's certain things that music or beats and melody that people can move people without people realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing. Also, just like in products and in purchasing, there's things that we're hardwired to, or we're not we're hardwired to be attracted to, and we just don't know why, but it's moving you. Mm-hmm. So when I hear things, I'm like, why am I attracted to that? What is that? And
why in this moment of now am I attracted to it? That's always been one of my things. What's going on here that I heard it, but I've never heard it before?
Yeah, your ears are sometimes. Well, I think so many things. Sometimes your ears are in that moment, and your emotions are in that moment. Because every day you wake up different, right? Yep. Every day you don't wake up with the same energy. You could have had like me, I had my dog driving me crazy and it's raining, and the next day it's a sunny day and everything's going great and your mood's different. So you're hearing things different.
So where can people go to find out more information about your projects and what you've been doing, and, give you some love?
Well, we got the In Theory Original. Let's see, let me get it right. InTheoryOriginal.com is everything with In Theory. But there's also the Mike Mostert Official on Instagram, and you also have the Tony Cavino Official. On the Mike Mostert Official, obviously you have the stuff that I'm doing with Victor Wooten and Rod Morgenstein, and stuff that I'm doing with the Stevie Wonder folks, and of course, the In Theory. And then on the In Theory Original website, that's where they can actually purchase the record, purchase shirts, get the latest news, show dates. In fact, we just got offered a couple of bigger shows that we're going to announce probably in the next 3 days, and then we'll have a big announcement. I think maybe Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh wow!
But we're signing something for a couple of our songs, and probably it's a mutual friend. I can't say it yet, but we will sign the documents on Friday, and we'll be doing some videos to go with that, and but we'll make the official announcement, and that will be released in March. But that's going to be very big news for us.
So, I can't wait.
So there's a lot of interesting things going on all at the same time.
That tells me that we've got time for a future conversation then.
At least a few.
Man, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
And I always appreciate it. Like I said, I'm always trying to match your brilliance, but I don't know if I ever will in this lifetime.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
I'll work on it.
Okay, bye, guy.